When I was a kid, I had one of those toy train sets, that little bitty trains that you run on a track. And one of the things that I found kind of fun was to run the train off the track. Okay, I'm a little bit weird. But yeah, I like to make train wrecks. Not all the time, but it was just kind of interesting to watch it run off the track. Now, the reason I say that is because people with people who are narcissistic tend to run on a track. I mean, they are so absolutely positively predictable. No, you can't predict the very words they're going to say or when they're going to say them, but overall, they run through a loop. They run through a pattern. It's kind of like a toy train set that runs around a table in a big loop, just over and over and over again. That's what narcissists do. They begin with love bombing, and then they suck you into their sphere of influence, and then they begin to abuse you and take advantage of you, and then they begin to engage in the smear campaign while they're trying to discard you, and ultimately they will discard you, but they may try to hoover you back in, but all the time the smear campaign is going on, and then maybe they will try to hoover you back in, and the whole thing starts over again, and round and round and round they go. Well, I like to derail those little trains. Not all the time, but just sometimes just for the fun of it. And I was thinking, how do you derail a narcissist? Because, they do have this pattern. So how do you do that? Well, number one is this. Do not, when dealing with a narcissist, do not access your anger. Or maybe specifically, we should say don't access your emotions needlessly, because there's one thing that narcissists love to do, and that is control you by triggering your emotions. If the narcissist can make you mad, you may feel good about being mad at the narcissist and even yelling at him. Let him have a piece of your mind. Makes you feel good, but guess what? It also makes the narcissist feel good, because what he or she is thinking in his or her mind is, I made him do that. I made her do that. I triggered her. I'm in control of her. I'm the one who triggered and ignited that emotional explosion. I'm in control of this person. The way to derail a narcissist is don't let them trigger your emotions. So what do you do? Well, at the very best, what I will do when a narcissist is trying to manipulate me, the best thing I can come up with, if anything at all, typically nothing at all, but the best thing I can come up with is maybe a smirk and say, yeah, right, whatever. Be dismissive. That derails a narcissist. They don't like to be dismissed. Number two, never argue with a narcissist. Now, I say never. Never say never. There may be some incidents where you have to argue with a narcissist. For example, if you're meeting them in court, you may have to confront them in an argumentative stance. But by and large, you don't want to argue with a narcissist, because just like blowing your stack, they love it. They love to argue, because when you are arguing with them, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. That's got nothing to do with it. What matters is they are controlling you. They have lured you into their arena and their boxing arena, and now they're having a fight, and it doesn't matter if you're throwing better punches than they are. The fact of the matter is that you're throwing punches, because they lured you into the fighting rink, into the boxing rink. So don't do that. Just don't argue with these people whatsoever. And you also need to keep in mind the thing about narcissists is it's really pointless to convince them that they are wrong, because they already know they're wrong. They know it. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about who's controlling whom. Got nothing to do with correctness. So if you want to sit down a narcissist and tell them a thing or two, try to straighten out his or her mind. Their mind is already straight. I mean, they already know they're full of crap. They know they're wrong. They know that they abused you. They know that they're the bad guy and you're the good guy. There's no argument. There's no debate. It's all about satisfying their craving to feed their ego. That's supply. So don't argue with them. You're just allowing them to manipulate you a little bit more. Number three, be mindful, we just touched on this by the way, but being mindful that the narcissist sole intent is ego supply. That's it. That's what a narcissist is all about, is inflating his or her ego. It's not about being right. It's not about being wealthy. It's not about winning any other social climbing race. It's not about any great achievement. The achievement to a narcissist is supplying his or her ego, inflating his or her ego as big as they can possibly get it. Now, some people think, oh, the way to have a big ego is to buy a big house, or to have a high-paying job, or maybe it's to have a flash car, an expensive automobile. Well, maybe, but to a narcissist, those things may be ego boosters, but maybe not. In fact, I know narcissists, people with narcissistic tendencies, controllers, and they're not interested in stuff. It's like they have this dependency on some substance, and they will sell they'll sell their possessions to get resources to buy the substance. That's all that matters, is the substance. All the material things, their job, their family, their homes, their cars, the clothes on their back, down to the bare necessities. All that is expendable. The one thing that matters is getting a good supply of whatever it is they are dependent upon. That's substance. Well, the substance that a narcissist is dependent upon is whatever boosts his or her ego. And that comes from you. Yeah, that comes from you. By beating you down, the narcissist is supplying his ego or her ego. By arguing with you, luring you into an argument, having a good knockdown argument. They love it. They don't care who wins. They don't care who's right or wrong, because they already know that. That's got nothing to do with it. They just want to be in control. So what do? Well, just be aware of the fact that's what they're doing. Number 4 is your goal. Well, what is your goal? That is to deny supply. Let's all say that together. Deny supply. That's it. Your objective, in my opinion, and I'm nearly 70 years old, I've been around the block a few times, I've experienced so many things over the decades, and one thing I've learned about dealing with narcissists, just sharing with you based upon life's laboratory, life's experience, is that taking control of the narcissist is not something that should be your objective. The narcissist wants you to try to take control of him or her, because that's a fight, and lure you into a fight. As we said earlier, that's their objective. Your objective is not to take control, but rather your objective with dealing with a narcissist is do not supply them, period. Don't give them any ego boosters of any kind. Well, how do you do that? Well, the best way to do it, and it's not always possible, but the best way to do it is just ignore them, stay away from them, get as far away from them as you possibly can. Go gray rock, as if they never existed, as if you had never known them. Just totally, completely, absolutely, positively cut them off from that supply of whatever it is they have a dependency on. And again, that is anything that boosts their ego. Well, if you're totally out of their life, you're invisible to them, it's really hard for them to get supply out of you. Now, granted, they'll still do it, Through smear campaigns, they're still trying to get a little bit of a puff of some substance, that ego boost. They're still doing it. But you've minimized it. You've got them as far away as you possibly can. Unfortunately, you can't always detect who is and who is not a narcissist from the very get-go, otherwise you wouldn't have the problem in the first place. Number 5 is make no effort. This is my opinion based upon my experience again. Make no effort to change the narcissist. Now, my reason for that is, again, based on my experience, is that narcissists cannot change. They just don't change. I've known narcissists who are narcissistic, extremely narcissistic, controllers. Had to control everything surrounding them always. And I've known them in their 20s and 30s. And I know them in their late 60s and 70s. And they don't change. They don't change. They don't change. They're the same people they always were. Okay, they're older, but their behavior is still basically the same. So why would you bother trying to change this person? Why are you trying to normalize them? Why are you trying to get them to see their error? They already see their errors. They already know they're wrong. They already know they're nutcases. They got it. They just love being narcissists. They like doing what they're doing, and I believe it's innate. I believe nature has made them that way. If you want to continue a conversation, just click on one of those two rectangle boxes you see on the screen, and we'll keep chatting together. If not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you all next time.